Hi, this is RJ. Thank you for joining me at Roller Derby Labs. Today we are going to take a look at a series of jam starts from the third place game at 2019 WFTDA Championships. This game features Victorian Roller Derby League and arch rival Roller Derby. For the full game, you can visit the WFTDA's YouTube page. As always, I am not going to be speaking about the intent of the players on the track because I am not them and I do not know their intent. What I will be speaking about are the effects that the player's actions have and how understanding those effects can help us be better roller derby strategists. The jam starts I'll be discussing today are jams 17 through 21 of the first half. In these jam starts, we're going to pay particular attention to VRDL as they run something I will call a drop triangle. What I mean by drop triangle is that they start their blockers near the pivot line and send 3 players back toward the jammer line to create a triangle wall closer to the opposing jammer. VRDL are experts at this technique. Let's take a look. I've chosen this jam because VRDL has a 4-2 blocker advantage, which allows us to see VRDL's actions pretty clearly. Let's watch the video again, but this time I want you to focus on VRDL blocker number 6, Kelly Walker, highlighted here. Specifically, I want you to note the technique that she uses to create separation between the drop triangle and the arch rival blockers. Let's take a look. You can see that Walker's initial position is behind the arch rival blocker number 1057, Shearer Powers. Walker maintains a position that prevents Powers from moving quickly in a clockwise direction, at the same time that the rest of the VRDL blockers are moving clockwise to meet the arch rival jammer. As VRDL's jammer number 4000, Anna Paviova, arrives, Walker shifts her technique to seal Powers, creating a 1v1 matchup between Anna Paviova and arch rival blocker number 1853, Vicious Van Gogh. See this play through. Triangle drops back. Walker pins Powers to keep Powers and Van Gogh forward. As Paviova arrives, Walker shifts to the side of Powers, creating that lane for Anna Paviova to pass through. We do not talk about the intent of players in these videos because we do not attend their practices. But I want to put a name on what we are seeing here, so we will use the effects of the actions to make a name for how we can refer to what Walker is doing. The primary effect that I see is that VRDL has created separation between the VRDL wall and the arch rival wall. For this reason, I'd like to call this offensive player the separator, because the effect of their action is to create separation between the VRDL wall as it moves clockwise and the arch rival wall that is being denied the ability to move clockwise. Let's watch this start one more time and focus on the 2 different offensive actions by Walker, who first acts as the separator and then as a more traditional offensive blocker, creating a path for her jammer. This time I'm going to let the jam play through, and we will see VRDL recreate the same back triangle on the scoring pass as they run the jam long. Here comes the arch rival jammer. Number 6 leaves, recreating the same setup that we had earlier in the jam. Now, back to normal roller derby. Points are scored. Let's take a look at jam 18. In this jam, VRDL has 4 blockers and arch rival has 3. I want you to keep an eye on the VRDL pivot number 2806, Danny Darko, who will be playing the role of a separator in this jam. Did you see it? It was similar to Jam 17, but I want to call out one difference. Watch the VRDL blockers that build the triangle, number 20 LaRage, number 46 Steel Thunder, and number 130 Jesse Henry. They do not go back as one unit, like the blockers did in Jam 17. Instead, they go one at a time. What effect does this have on arch rival? To an extent, it masks who the primary separator is, while also leaving additional players close to arch rival's blockers to ensure that VRDL can have separation when the jam starts. A cost VRDL pays by using Jesse Henry as a secondary separator is they do not generate as much separation as they did in Jam 17, much closer, this triangle, than the one in the last jam, when the jammer hits. In the last jam, they were all the way back at the first stripe after the jammer line. In this one, they're at the second one, the closer one to the pivot line. Let's watch this one more time and see all of the things happening here. So now we'll take a look at Jam 19, which is going to be a full pack, 4-on-4 between arch rival and VRDL. You'll see the same thing as we did in Jam 17, where VRDL sends a triangle back as one unit toward the jammer line, and number 6 Walker acts as the separator. But in this jam, arch rival has made an adjustment. They chose to rotate their defensive triangle around Walker, neutralizing the separation action, and they are able to move clockwise almost as much as VRDL did. This jam settles into an even struggle, with no team gaining an advantage until a few penalties are called on arch rival blockers. This is a nice adjustment from arch rival, and also a view as to why in Jam 18 VRDL used a secondary separator. Let's take one more look at this start to show that rotation and to see how a secondary separator might have been helpful for VRDL. Everybody moves backwards. Arch rival moves backwards as well. And this is regular roller derby. We can only wonder how this jam would have gone if VRDL had used the secondary separator again as they did in Jam 18. In Jam 20, we get to see the same setup with VRDL having 3 blockers and arch rival having 2. Let's see how this compares to Jam 17 when VRDL had 4 and arch rival had 2. In this jam, it appears the role of the separator is being played by number 130 Jesse Henry, but she also has the role of the brace in the triangle. Come a couple frames forward so you can see. This isn't new for the separator to have 2 jobs, but it is new what that second job is. This time it's bracing, instead of a more traditional offensive role. When forced to choose between maintaining separation and going to brace, she chooses to brace. This allows arch rival's blockers to come closer to the VRDL wall. Separation does occur in this jam, but only when the arch rival jammer is knocked out of bounds here. Separation occurs, spinach gets out. What does this tell us? It tells us, at least in 2019, for VRDL to run this strategy as they wanted, they needed all 4 blockers on the track. With 3, it didn't work quite the same. Now, I'm curious if anything has changed for them since then, and hope to find out by watching Hometown Throwdown in a couple weeks. The last jam I want to take a look at is jam 21, which is one more jam when we have full packs for both teams. VRDL is set up similar to how they have been before, with Walker as the separator. But in this jam, they choose to use a secondary separator in number 85, Bianca Sciaretta, who leaves to join her triangle as the jam is starting. You can see that this is much preferred for VRDL. They have set up that triangle at the first hash mark, as they did in Jam 17, and also maintained arch rival up close to the pivot line. This is what they would want from a start like this, even with both teams having the same number of players. I'm going to let this jam run and talk a little bit about it. So, as this jam goes, you may be wondering, it's slowing to a crawl with both jammers pushing on walls but staying in the pack. Did this jam go well for VRDL? It's going to end 0-0, so surely it could have gone better. They could have scored some points. But for VRDL, a slow grinding jam is much better to have when you have twice as many points as the other team as when you have half as many points as the other team. 2 minutes off the clock for VRDL is 2 minutes closer to a win. I'll also point out that the VRDL jammer Curly Burly does not step out of bounds once for the entire 2 minutes. I can't tell you their intent because I'm not them, but I will say that this also feels like a key to VRDL's choice of drop triangle strategy. As we've seen, VRDL has taken a lot of actions to create the advantage of having a back triangle wall. If Curly Burly were to go out of bounds, the advantage of the back wall could be lost, as Arch would draw Curly Burly back. By staying in bounds, VRDL is able to maintain the advantage at the back of the pack for a long time, and even retake that advantage at the back of the pack mid-jam by knocking the arch rival jammer out of bounds. Okay. This has been a look at VRDL's drop triangle strategy. I have been RJ. Thank you for joining me today. If I have used the wrong name, pronunciation, or pronouns for you or your teammates in this video, please reach out so I can do better in the future. Please like, subscribe, and share these videos. For more Roller Derby Labs content, check out @RollerDerbyLabs on your favorite social network, and for longer reads, check out https://rollerderbylabs.substack.com. In the meantime, everybody get yourself to practice, and let's see what fun new things we can make up.